We're being super productive today and filming 2 videos. Even though there's still technically a few days left in this month, we're gonna wrap up January today because there's nothing else we can finish. I'm not even sure if I want to start anything else except for the books for February. I would really like to start one of those. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into what we read in January. I'm Morgan. If this is your first time here, I hope you enjoy the video. You'll stick around. Let me know your thoughts if you've read any of these too. Stats for the month ended up starting 7 books. We had 1 5-star, 1 4-star, and 3 3.5 stars with 2 DNFs. The first month of the year, and we're already starting with the DNFs. But I think I did the right. I think I did the right thing in doing it and not pushing myself to read something. We'll get into that later. There were 2 ebooks, 1 physical book, 2 physical audio mixed, and obviously those 2, which were also physical audio mixed. For a total read though of 2,214 pages, because I counted the audiobooks by their pages. The first book completed for the month was The Lost House by Melissa Larson. Yes. This one is a fiction mystery. I'm going to put fiction first because I felt that the mystery wasn't mystery. Maybe it is for some people. Maybe it's enough to call it a mystery for the elements that it was. But when it's that obvious, it makes, and the fact that she didn't investigate things much, it's hard for me to call it a mystery. Our main character though, Agnes, she is returning to Iceland where her grandfather and father are from after not even being taught the language, not being, knowing too much about her history, because her family is kind of famous as her grandfather was accused of killing her grandmother, and that became a famous unsolved case called the Frozen Madonna. As a whole thing. And she's returning though to star on a podcast, mostly also because her life has fallen apart in California. Her grandfather died and he was her closest person. Her girlfriend dumped her. Nope. Wrong series of events. Her grandfather died. She was in an accident. Her girlfriend dumped her. And so now she's just kind of in a state of blah. And so this is her way to try to get out of that. And it's caused a bit of a rift between her and her father. He did not want anything to do with this podcast. But she's going on this very famous podcast that solves cold cases. She's going to clear her father's name. The podcast lady, of course, is just trying to get the truth. She was very intent on telling that mouse who's boss. The other aspect of the book, though, that's the current mystery, is that a local college lady has gone missing. I don't know if I said lady, a girl. Sounds wrong. I don't know. She's 20-something. She's gone missing at the house that her grandparents had before, which now they throw annual parties at on that day. It's very weird, I feel. Probably a true statement, though. I'm sure that there are parties at murder houses because people are weird. But she's gone missing, so Agnes is also investigating kind of into that. And it was alright. It's a debut book, so there's that. But yeah, it was just kind of alright to me and very, very evident who did it. Very evident. 2 cat interruptions in such a short time span. Alright, 3 Body Problem by She's in Liu. I did the review video for this one. It was spoiler free. Really enjoyed it. Very different than what I actually expected. I mean, I did expect some differences, but then different. I liked it though. Could we have gotten more, either given emotional depth to our main character or more kind of describers of scenes, details of where we're at? I don't know. This though follows Wang Mao, who is a scientist in Beijing. He is a technical engineer though, so he deals more with physical sciences. While around the world, theoretical scientists are they're dying, and he is brought in by a special task force to see if he has any connections with, or because he has had connections with frontiers of science, who they believe to be involved in this somehow. And the story goes from there as he's curious, and then all of a sudden it does start affecting him in ways. And yes, so it's almost all from his point of view, except when we are in the past, when we are with Yi Wenjie, maybe? Yep, no, I'm pronouncing that wrong. And she is an astrophysicist in 1960s China when it's through the Cultural Revolution. So her whole world is getting turned upside down. Through education, through the government, through her family, all of it in. But things that are happening back then are directly related to what's happening in the present. And we slowly go through both of their perspectives until... So 4 stars. Really, really enjoyed it. And I'm continuing on to the Dark Forest in February. After that one, we did the Keep It Realistic episode, and the first book up for that one was Omens of Ice by Jess Sicardo. This was the first 3.5 stars, and it was audio and physical. I don't completely recommend the audio because the male narrator did things like trying to add maybe depth to what was happening by adding in, not smirk, that's a look. I was going to say the smirk sound, but that's not right. Sighs and little laughs. Like, yeah, it's nope. It was too much, and it was not enjoyable for that. The female though, she was fine. The story follows 2 characters though. Keltania, who is a druid assigned to Valen, who is a royal at the court of the Winter Fae, which is the last actual court of Fae in this dying world. We're just gonna say that because there was war however many years ago, generations ago, and then after that the Great Drain happened and everybody lost their magic except the druids because their magic comes from nature. But because the Winter Fae helped the druids stay alive through the court fairy wars, now the druids honor them by doing this bond where they send people to go be protectors for them. And they're always called Elfinians because of something else. But Valen is being targeted because he has a secret. He's also next in line to the Winter Court, but his uncle hates him. I think that was Sunshine this time. Overall, this one was fine. It was good. It was fun. Why am I not coming up with good words for this? I don't know. I will probably read the second one, but I have decided to unhaul it though. I have decided to unhaul it because while I'll read the second one, I don't know that I want to buy a special edition of the second one, if that makes sense. This was not the next one, but then we had To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn. This was the other 3.5 stars. The audiobook for this one was much better. Yet again, kind of forbidden because our main character was a recruit into the military, even though they didn't recruit women. When they came to get the 16-year-old boys there for the choosing, her brother was kind of tagged and she beat the ever-living crap out of his bully. And so the commander was like, well, I'm going to take you then. You are better than all of them. So yeah, that happened, and she's kind of, special. She's the key to things, and okay, don't be sarcastic. Don't be sarcastic. I kind of think I want to drop this one down to a 3 realistically. Because, it was fun, and the romance was like, from the beginning, he was already falling for her, and he didn't know why exactly, and I really wonder how much of it was each other, or how much was that thing. Let's not get into that, but, it was I'm going to take you out if you hurt her, and he kind of did, and then they have to go into this mist that surrounds their whole kingdom. The sun's gone, they live in eternal night, and everything's kind of dying because it's been like that for 50 years, and somehow they've been surviving and had crops. I don't know how, but the answers to making it go away and the return of the sun goddess, it lies in the mist. So they have to send people out into the mist to find the cure. And now their group is going out into the mist, and secrets and answers and magic and horrors. Oh my. It's not that bad. I don't know why I'm being so sarcastic about it. I just don't. Okay. We're going to move on from this though. So I don't know if I will read the sequel or not. Our first DNF though for that episode, that's a cat hair floating through the air, would be Daughter of the Salt King by A.S. Thornton. This one follows Emil, who is one of the daughters of the Salt King, who is a salt merchant. He's pretty much the only one here who has salt. And that's very important for commerce, way of life, power. So he's made himself very powerful. And how he gains allies and keeps allies and stuff is by marrying off his daughters, 20-ish more daughters now possibly, to other factions to keep building alliances and stuff like that. Okay, all perfectly reasonable, right? All perfectly reasonable. His daughters aren't allowed to leave the palace. They're normally, confined to this one large tent room area situation. They have a lot of space and stuff. But the situation of how he marries them off is messed up, okay? It's not that this could be bad. I mean, this a bad book possibly, and the world might be really cool, but I couldn't make it past, I don't know, I was maybe in the 50s pages, and she'd already had her first suitor encounter. Well, the first in this book. Apparently this might be her last chance to get a suitor because she's going to be aging out, and he just throws his daughters out on the curb as worthless if nobody picks to marry them. Because when the suitors come in, they get to pick one to spend the night with and then choose whether or not they're going to ask for that one to be their bride. And they have 3 nights. They can either pick the same one every night or different ones. And she's gone through like 12 suitors maybe. That's horrible. And like they give her like wine and I think a drug, like a hookah or something. It's before she goes in there, not because she's unwilling, but to mellow her out to her nerves and stuff. And so she won't be so much herself to frighten away the suitor. When bad things go happen and she ends up meeting the genie, instead of asking the genie for her freedom, she blames all of the things. Why is my life so bad? Why is my freedom gone? Ask the genie. Our other DNF was because it was boring reading it. Nothing too much was even happening, or that's Forged by Blood by, I'm not gonna butcher the author's name. This is an adult fantasy and it reads like a YA. Our main character is 17 through most of the book. The beginning of the book was kind of sad, and a lot of stuff kind of was happening at the beginning, and then our pace just drops off, and then she's reckless, runs into danger, and then things happen and get resolved. Our main character though, I don't even remember her name. Okay, Demi survives her mom dying, losing all of her family at 8 years old, and then she finds friends of her parents who take her in and train her in how to use her magic, which is illegal, and everybody with magic is killed, and she's gonna fight to save her people from the overlords, the ruling conquerors. A lot of the themes of this, like, while they're good and they could be, a good look at these type of situations, it tries to smack you too much in the face, over the head with it. I just couldn't once the love triangle was starting to start. I was like, no, just don't. Just don't. Because you don't even like your friend like that. So why would you even be doing this? Don't hold that. So yeah, that was the other DNF of the month. The final book though I read, and it made me so happy. I was laughing through most of the book. I was tearing up at some parts of it though, like there was a particular thing that happened and I'm like, oh no. Oh, that's so sad. That's gonna be Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. In this one, our main character Carl and his recently ex's cat, like it always says ex-girlfriend's cat, and you're wondering how in the world he's got his ex-girlfriend's cat, because it like just happened, like at the start of the book. They were living together and she's away on vacation and now they're not together. The cat is a Princess Donut. She is a Persian show cat, and her full name is Princess Donut Queen Anne Chunk. I think I said that right. And she's a whole personality onto herself, and they wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for her though. she's the whole reason they're alive. Because when the world ends for its televised dungeon crawling event through the whole intergalactic universe, anybody who was inside is no longer part of the world. And people who happen to be outside, though, they are offered the chance to go into the dungeon, make their way through all 18 levels, and win back Earth to be its own sovereign planet again, instead of a mine for resources planet. So that's all the crawlers have to do, you know? They just have to make it through 18 levels of a dungeon where there's magic and monsters and a maybe psychotic AI. An AI that definitely seems to like feet. I'm just gonna say that. And Carl, you know, as you can tell from the cover and stuff, he was most unfortunate at 2 a.m. in the morning that he ran outside to fetch Princess Donut at, while not wearing any pants or shoes. And that becomes a running thing through the book. The first book follows them, I'm gonna go ahead and say, through the first 2 levels of the dungeon. And just, even though it's looking at the end of the world, it's doing so with a humor, as sometimes that's all you can do in bad situations is find the humor. I don't know why I smacked my hands together, sorry. Find the humor of the situation, or, you know, look at it. It's not even looking at it from the bright side. It's maybe dark humor too, I don't know. I thought, though, it was so fun. I loved reading it so much. And I'm going to continue on with this series too, hopefully next month. I'm going to do the audiobook, though. I will try the audiobook for the next one. Those are all the books I read in January. I did not get to any of my actual anticipated releases, but I hope that some of you did. I would love to know what you guys read, how it turned out. I know that there was a very big release that most people were excited about and probably went to grab that day. Hopefully you guys, you know, had targets that either did okay or, yeah, I've heard about that debacle. I just hope you're having an excellent day, finding something great to read. You'll chat with me about books in the comments or on Discord, and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one.